It's a great question.
Let's find out.
Did you pull out a fake
I was going to be a magnifying glass, but then I realized it just looks like a fist.
Detective Kobe and Drakos, are we punching you? Are we looking through the magnifying glass? We'll find out.
Okay, so the AD carry conversation is actually really interesting because this is not just a normal, oh, we've got 4 top AD carries and you take your pick. They are very different as far as the comps that they're used in. You've got, if you go the Kai'Sa angle, then you have to go much more of a dive composition. You need setup, you need CC to get plasma on people. Then you have to worry about the counters to that, like the Xayah with the counter dive with her ultimate. Ezreal, the poke variation. Then there's the Tristana Kalista trade where Kalista has been heavily maligned, jumped in and bursted down by so many Tristanas. So already G2 trying to force that AD carry meta, banning away the Tristana. That does actually, funnily enough, raise the success probability of Kalista because Tristana has been the primary pick into Kalista, going for that lane phase all in, combine it with a Nautilus or something like that. But I know that G2 fans do not want to see another Kalista for them. Flakked is undefeated on Kai'Sa. I really like the Kai'Sa angles when you have, big CC on your team, dive comp, Flakked 4-0 on this champ so far at MSI. It's by far looked like his best and G2's best.
Agree completely, and we're seeing a little bit of targeting towards BeanJ as both Nocturne and the Lee Sin are taken off the board, but immediately going to see the Wukong now locked in. Obviously, very successful champ for anyone who has picked it up. We'll see how G2 want to use it. We just assume for now it's in the jungle, and again, Galio coming out, so very defensive mid lane pick. Already banned away the Ahri, already banned away the LeBlanc, but you're right to highlight the AD carries. I am with the herd. I don't know. I'm losing the word for it. I'm with the herd on this one. I hate the Kalista.
You woke up at 5 a.m.
I woke up at 5 a.m. I'm with the herd. Me and the herd. We hate the Kalista. I know it does good things. I don't want to see those things. I want to see none of the good things or the bad things. I want no Kalista for either side. But wow, okay. So Vladimir picked up.
Yeah. So there have been a couple of Gwen counter picks circulating, and the Vladimir has been one of the more successful versions of it. I do like this for BrokenBlade. He has played and had a long history on Vladimir. North American finals as well when he was on TSM. Huge Vladimir play from him. So do have confidence in BrokenBlade playing into the Gwen. And there's my Kai'Sa, Daniel. The herd can be happy.
G2 fans and the herd breathing a sigh of relief. There will be no Kalistas in this game.
G2 herd here. Strong.
G2 herd. Oh no.
It's not a G2 army anymore.
It's a herd. Oh boy. It's going to be loosey-goosey today, but an explosive bottom lane. We're back. Folks, we remember it from 2019. We've all been waiting for it, even if you didn't know it. Kai'Sa, Xayah, meta has returned. Yes, it took a couple bans. Yes, it took a lot of Kalista failing. But finally, the hypest AD carry meta possible has returned. Now, though, as we enter the second ban phase, Sylas taken away, trying to limit some of Caps' options in the mid lane, as well as the Rakan, that super reliable engage, and obviously the pairing of the Xayah Rakan.
Yeah, honestly, too, as much as everyone is focused on the G2 comp, the Buffalo answers here with dual counter engage, Galio and Xayah, is pretty strong. As we said, whenever you pick the Kai'Sa, the next sentence that we went with was you have to worry about the counter initiation and the Xayah and these reaction sort of picks here. So Bard gives you even more delay time with the ultimate, more possibilities there. Not going to lock it in quite yet. I do like leaving support final counter pick. That's quite interesting. Technically, Galio could also be rotated to support. We haven't seen it this tournament, but it has been a possibility in the past. It's much more likely to go mid though, and they just lock in the Aatrox into Vladimir for the healing 1v1 on top side.
Yeah, we just got the bloody drain tank boys there on the top side. Nautilus now locked in, not to the surprise of anyone, just a very standard strong pick. Obviously was the premier support pairing when Kai'Sa was meta previously, so no surprise to see it again there. However, Galio, the thing that I love about him is he obviously just generates so much space for your carries. As long as Galio has W up, it makes it very hard for the Wukong to leap in. Part of the reason why he was so good into champions like Akali back in. Again, I'm really stuck on 2019-2020 meta. It's a good time for League of Legends. Anivia would be the spice.
It's a shout out. I think it's just a shout out for later in the day. It is locked in.
And here's the thing. Aatrox short range, yes, he can get over the wall. Gwen short range, yes, she can't get over the wall as well. But Xayah, you throw the wall behind her, she can't do anything. Galio obviously going to have a miserable time in lane. If he ever tries to E in and Anivia just ults on the ground, that man's just getting burned down.
It's really interesting because it diversifies G2's team comp. Because previously they were so heavy on dive all in, and Anivia gives you way more outs. Anivia, really good wave clear. Obviously doesn't have to dive at all, is much better in these set up secure team fights. So very, very interesting kind of pivot there in the face of so much counter dive with Galio and Xayah and Renata. Renata, the final piece of the massive amount of counter initiation here, is so much better when people are diving into you. So Anivia gives them a bit more range, a bit more security there from the mid lane from Caps. And of course, like you're saying, is quite good into the Galio itself. So both fits in answering the opponent's team, but also the lane here. So I do like that. Very interesting and important game here as well for G2 with the race for that third and fourth spot moving towards semifinals.
And of course, a win here does secure G2 at least a tiebreaker game for knockout stage. Obviously, the specifics will discover more as the day continues and as more matches are played. For now, Saigon Buffalo playing to upset the apple cart. Wow.
The herd.
The herd. Sleep deprived me has a lot of weird phrases. That's all I will say. So we're going to see how it works out. The Anivia obviously did fantastically the first time in stage 1 up against EG. We'll see how it fares against Saigon Buffalo. And a huge, huge game. And I feel like Saigon Buffalo yesterday playing... Oftentimes we see this when teams are knocked out or on the edge of knocked out. They play with like no fear. And it's a horrifying thing to deal with. We see it all the time. I don't know if you see this in LCS as well, but in LEC we see teams who are like, once they're eliminated from playoffs, play like absolute mad lads, and they play the best league they've played all year.
Yeah, when you have no pressure on you. We definitely did see that. We saw that from TSM starting to finally get some wins after they were fully eliminated. I was more curious about what was Jankos saying in that shot. Every member of G2 intently listening, and Jankos kind of belting out some early game instructions, it looks like. Always love when we get to see those pictures of them just before we go into game, because that's where it really is important. Laying out your early game, laying out your level 1. How do we want to play this out as soon as we've seen the entire team comp match up? And obviously we had the swap there with BeanJ being able to take up the Gwen. And it is going to be the jungle Gwen. It's definitely a bit slower, a bit more farming oriented. But Wukong is also really focused on those team fights, so we'll see if there's any sort of extra early ward. He doesn't place the trinket down towards red or Raptors.
And this is interesting. Jungle Gwen obviously picked that I only saw a few times domestically in the LEC, something that has been played a lot in solo queue, but I'm curious what your thoughts are on this pick generally, what it brings. Because obviously solo top lane one we're very used to seeing.
Yeah, I do like it in solo queue because it does give you more autonomy. It's more possibilities of 1v9 and not having to trust your team later. But it does take longer to scale than most of the predominant junglers right now. A big part of junglers right now is getting very powerful early so that you can have an impact on the Rift Herald.
Yep.
Wukong, right at 6, does have a big spike. And while Gwen 6 is important, Gwen scales really well with items, much more so than most of the other junglers right now. So it's definitely much more of a scaling jungle pick. Isn't going to have as much of an effect towards the early stages there, especially worried about possible Rift Herald plays. But they've got the Aatrox on top side, so that plus a Galio ultimate can definitely do wonders when you're working towards some of these skirmishes. If you've got a Gwen with the Mist and a Galio ultimate to come down after the Mist, it kind of buys you more time there, so definitely gives it a lot of threat.
And I think the big thing that obviously Saigon Buffalo have bought for themselves is a well-timed stun there, stops Froggy from really trading back onto Caps, is that they have, in theory, a much more comfortable laning matchup for Hasmed. Part of the reason why they moved the Gwen out of that topside matchup, but have to see. For now, obviously falling behind a little bit early on, it makes sense. Vladimir has the range, he's got the extra combat, some is going to be difficult to play against. As the hook lands on the bottom side, Taki takes a bit of damage, but they're not relatively tanky. Courtesy of the Guardian there, able to shrug that damage off. And Hasmed might be in trouble. Really easy for BrokenBlade to drop tower aggro. Expects to see him take it first. Waiting for the Q to now come out. Jankos committing fully to the fight, trying to get a bit more damage down to Hasmed. Hasmed dashing away. First blood. BrokenBlade dropping tower aggro. And it's a flawless first blood.
Very, very clean from the G2 duo here. Jankos getting up to BrokenBlade immediately. And you can, excuse me. the early game and early morning frogs caught in my throat. The Gwen, though, you can see fully focused on the power clear. So while Jankos has had a tendency to spend and skip camps for a lot more time affecting lanes, getting his laners going, very, very useful gank from him. Gwen has gone with the full clear, power clear towards the bottom side, and now you see him here over the wall.
Oh, Caps not ready for that one. Snip, snip, now down under the tower, just outside of tower range, means Caps is going to fall. A bit of a delayed kill back, but BeanJ now getting snowballed.
Yes, and this is a scenario where 10 out of 10 times you do want the jungler taking the last hit, because Galio is the supportive one, and you've got the carry, scaling jungler. Drakos, if you get your early kills on a jungler like this, then all of a sudden, you know, the difference between a top lane Gwen and jungle Gwen starts to shrink because so much more money funneled into BeanJ now with their early kill onto Caps, and taking away the egg passive now will make him much more vulnerable. This means, ooh, really nice spacing there on Froggy, by the way. Just outside of the Q from Anivia with the Justice Punch, and then able to get right back in. That was beautifully played by Froggy.
Running Ignited, ticking down, trying to walk back in and get a cheeky auto, hoping to turn this one away, realizing he's already going to drop, but that's going to be the laning kill, massive for Saigon Buffalo. And Kobe, they just keep winning. They've got their Gwen a kill in the early game. AP Jungler's clear speed goes through the roof with early gold, and now they've got the more aggressive laning combo in the Renata plus Xayah, and they're ahead in lane 2.
Since yesterday, especially, Froggy has just been fully unleashed, and the Saigon Buffalo here are falling right back up on it. So this is why Renata is so good into a lot of these melee matchups right now. A very good counter engage. Taki, they're able to get him with the handshake, and then on the way out, they chase down the kill. Really, really good stuff here from what's been the most consistent part of this team has been their bottom lane. I think the newest and most important member to step up has been Froggy and BeanJ. So that mid-jungle duo from yesterday, huge performances out of them to get the Buffalo their first win. And they're continuing their strong play today.
Certainly are, and I think incredible to see this early game come out. I was concerned a little bit, honestly, after that topside gank. It played so well. I start to wonder, oh, is Jankos going to pull ahead? But now BeanJ, you can see individually, one kill as well. Matching, his clear speed is still going to be insane. The bot lane is going to be in trouble. So hard to play against the Xayah with any kind of advantage. And while Targamas is trying to roam, Saigon Buffalo are responding. Taki is everywhere that he needs to be. They're not really getting the edge in terms of map movement, and Saigon Buffalo pushing forward, leveraging their individual laning advantages to secure this Drake.
Yeah, they've got Galio ult advantage, and Caps has no egg for Anivia. So not only is Galio going to be way more impactful in moving down the river for this dragon fight, just champion to champion, but also not having the safety there. Anivia does not want to get caught out early on, especially with no passive. So they only, for the side of G2, get Jankos over to that red buff. He did get a pretty deep ward here. At least we'll see the spawn number 2 in their red quadrant of their jungle on the top side of the map there for Saigon Buffalo. BrokenBlade is the point of power for G2. Got the early gank from Jankos, and as soon as he cleans up the rest of that minion wave, will reclaim a bit of the CS lead that he has on the top side. Obviously, Vladimir very good at scaling for some of that AoE damage later on into the game, though Xayah is one of the more difficult AD carries to dive.
Yep. Shogun obviously pretty comfortable. We'll see. I've been impressed with Taki in the early runs. He's been a lot, putting a little bit of pressure towards mid. But I'm also watching BeanJ, because this is a champion that I haven't seen too much of in the jungle for a long time. So far, my only opinions are clear speed, good. Clear speed, very good. Other than that, I'm waiting to see what Gwen is going to do when she's not locked into a lane, because she's not a traditional CC champion. She doesn't offer a lot of playmaking. She relies more on other people around her to kind of set those plays up.
Yeah, fortunately for you, there's no real mystery with the champion. It's still very straightforward. Similar Gwen things. It's just that you rely on your laners to have that CC and the setup for a lot of your ganks. Like you're saying, you can't force as many. Once you get level 6 and you've got your ultimate, then you become really threatening, though. And so for BeanJ, why it was so big for him to get that early kill, ooh, nice, able to still get off that recall there for Aatrox. Normally, after you're full clear on Gwen, you've got a little bit of extra time that goes to waste. Most other junglers, can do something with it, affect a lane or something like that, but usually the level 4 Gwen doesn't have that big of an impact, but you got a very efficient early stop in there to mid lane to get that money, and look at him. build path here accelerated. But for G2, this Herald that we mentioned and the difference between the two junglers, Jankos takes no hesitation, starts up that Herald. They've got a control ward on it, and since the Buffalo have committed 2 members to stay bottom, they should for sure just give up this Rift Herald. It's only really counting how many turret plates do you get in payment for it, because G2 will pay that price on the bottom side. 2 turret plates in total have been taken, though already a lot of damage was done after that early kill.
Yeah, it's so hard now for Flakked to step forward as long as those feathers are down. You can see Targamas looking to lock in. Hey, we were talking about TSM earlier.
Completely zoned off the tower as well, though. I want to point out. So, Shogun and Taki absolutely, monstering on the bottom side of this map. The Saigon Buffalo bottom lane has been such a point of power for them, and now BeanJ is coming to join, and they've got a Galio ult.
Be big. That's the ulti now going down. Targamas just means that he's walking away a little bit. Flakked has the ultimate to reposition if he needs to. He's trying to get away from BeanJ. Jankos now on the way in. Saigon Buffalo, have they overstayed? Shogun so incredibly low. Taki incredibly low, but Targamas already down. Jankos looking to finish 1 kill, trying to stop the feathers from coming back. Clean flash from Shogun to finish the job, and BeanJ now hungry for a little bit more blood. One more Anna's gonna block him, but it's not enough. Snip, snip, baby!
It was getting dirty there for a second, Daniel. I thought G2 were going to clean up more kills, but in the end, the Buffalo with the extra person, Galio ult, means the difference. Caps on Anivia, can't really get down there. Could teleport to the tower, but decides to push the wave instead. Gets 1 wave into mid-turret, and the Buffalo will get not only the extra kills on the bottom side of the map, but the entire turret in the aftermath. Look at the start of this dive. So they were not an ultimate to keep Targamas decently close, but then just outside of that Galio range, and they take a lot of tower shots. BeanJ is trying to do a lot of work on this top side versus Jankos and Flakked, keeping them out of the actual tower dive itself. But once Jankos gets back in there for the double kill, starts to look like G2 are going to get a decent amount of money back until BeanJ on this Gwen jungle. Riftmaker already done.
Guess the Riftmaker. Got the free boots. This man is zooming.
This is your solo queue jungle Gwen. This is the dream. When you get 3 early kills on this champion, Riftmaker 10 minutes into the game, this is huge jungle game for him.
Yeah, I'd say for EU fans, that definitely qualifies as a scare prize. Don't forget to grab your exclusive scare prize Prime Gaming emote so you can strut when you flash in and turn a fight, or when you lose slowly to a 3-0 Gwen. All things are available here in this context.
Jankos, of course, did get 2 kills, but Flakked.
Hold that thought. Flakked has cleanse, but I don't think he wants to use any summoner spells here. He knows he's down, and BeanJ now on a rampage. They are feeding Gwen every kill across the map.
Yeah, you have to respect that there's no tower left for you for G2. They've lost so much defense so early on into this game, and the Buffalo punish again. Roam down to the bottom side. Now they're roaming up towards mid. Can Taki get him?
Taki locks him down. That's going to be the handshake. Now here come the scissors. Oh no, that's a sad time to have the passive back up. Shogun grabbing the kill. Saigon Buffalo completely out of contention. G2 playing for a guaranteed chance at a tiebreaker, but it is Saigon Buffalo who are playing the better League of Legends right now. They're absolutely smashing G2.
This is insane. The Buffalo are destroying G2, getting flashbacks to 2019 when they 2-0 G2 at that MSI.
Jankos, though, the strong member on the team, has the Divine Sunderer. Top side, their strongest point compared to the rest of the map. Maybe they can get something done here, but Jankos getting pulled back by the chains. Tower shot will not finish it.
The bastion of hope for G2 has been their successful plays on the top side of the map. Jankos plus BrokenBlade combining yet again for another successful gank, but it does come at the cost of second Dragon, only 12 minutes into the game. Very quick pace here for the Saigon Buffalo, and with the amount of gold lead that they have accrued for themselves, they should be able to continue stacking and push this ahead. Jankos, though, pop this Rift Herald, get as much money into BrokenBlade as you possibly can. They're actually just going to leave it here and let the tower deny a little bit more as far as the minions. They get out, they want to overstay their welcome. It's important when you're trying to make comebacks in games like this, not to overstay, not to, rush it too much and get too greedy. A lot of comebacks really come in multi-step process.
And it's gonna be, there's gonna be a few more steps in this multi-step process, most certainly. I think the big concerning thing is if you look at the riff we've rolled, well, you know that the casters are excited because in this house we stand Hextech. However, if you're a G2 fan, you should be concerned because let me tell you what would be great for a Gwen, a turbo-fed Gwen and a Xayah, it would be Hextech Soul. So something G2 absolutely have to respect. Yes, they are a late game team fighting powerhouse with the Wukong and a Vladimir, but as long as Gwen is far enough ahead of the clock, she doesn't really care about anybody.
And here's where you can also put your spotlight on that final pick, the 5th pick, Anivia. As we said, it's so different from the rest of the G2 comp, where Anivia gives you a lot more wave clear and gives you some stalling if you need it. Turns out they are going to need it in this game. And Saigon Buffalo don't have the perfect delivery system for a Galio. Gwen and Aatrox kind of walk their way into your team. They can walk a little bit faster sometimes, you know, get Ghost or Flash in there, but it's not as direct a delivery system as sometimes you see with the super heavy dive. So G2 do have options for stalling and trying to get to those breakpoints that you're looking for with the rest of their carries.
Yep. Time is the name of the game, as the gold lead is pretty sizable at this stage, 3K. And again, depending on the context, BrokenBlade pretty strong individually, has the Cosmic Drive, will be a big threat on the side lane. G2 yet to really find any kind of footing in team fights. Losing out in lane prio means losing out on tempo, on pushing in and generating this kind of vision. You can see BeanJ moving on the top side. I thought he was going to drop a ward. He didn't have a ward. He wanted to ward, but he could not. And you can see total vision control on the top side of the map from Saigon Buffalo.
And what we're going to see is a focus from Saigon Buffalo on suffocating G2 as far as the vision goes. BeanJ is actually just going to walk at them.
Hasmed off to the side. That's going to be the TP coming in from the Aatrox. Targamas locked up by the Infernal Chain. Well-placed Q2 to make sure they get the pull back, and that's Targamas getting knocked down.
Yeah, it's too scary, Daniel. The Gwen just runs right at your face. Aatrox here as well, jumping over the wall. Hasmed follows it up. And G2, they're going to have to spend every ounce of wave clear that they have to continue delaying. Yeah. Their only kind of benefit is that the Buffalo don't have a great siege team, so it's harder for them to take the rest of the towers in the face of Anivia. Fortunately for the Buffalo, though, neutral objectives coming right back onto the map. They'll just focus on Rift Herald number 2 here and then transition down to the 3rd Dragon, which is at a very quick pace.
Yep.
Anivia is recalling, but Caps does have his Unleashed teleport ready. He could teleport back after this fight.
Maybe getting lower and lower. Saigon Buffalo maybe secure that one. Looks like they did, as BeanJ is now going to grab it. Caps returns to mid lane, so he'll be there in time to potentially stall or stop this Herald push, but mid lane tier 1 tower is so important.
It's basically gone, because you can try and wave clear, but the Herald is going to destroy that tower no matter what.
Well, they're not even going to use it. Gwen immune, obviously. Frustrating for Caps. He has to get so close to do anything here. Renata ult means that Caps is going to punch his friends.
Hit him with a little snowflake on the nose.
Yep.
Gotcha!
Fear my terrible auto attack animation.
Targamas is literally at 100% life. He's like, wait, what, sir? The tower is dead, though, and they didn't have to invest the Rift Herald. So Buffalo actually have a pretty quick way to accelerate this game. They've got Rift Herald in hand and 50 seconds left on Dragon number 3. So just go to those neutral objectives. Then you can siege up with your Rift Herald, plow down the last one, and you'll be prepped and ready for a very early Dragon Soul.
And Gwen Xayah, both ahead of the clock in terms of itemization, means that Wind Baron is an option. Saigon Buffalo are going to have no problem taking that one down pretty quickly. G2 really have to play carefully here. 4K gold lead. Saigon Buffalo slowly but surely extending this lead as G2 trying to group, trying to force, trying to stall what feels like an inevitable Dragon Soul. A little bit of damage coming out, forcing an early flash from Taki. Good heads-up play. Gwen now immune and the engage coming out. Jankos might just have to use the ultimate so the rest of his team can escape. Infernal Chains coming in. Flash is going out. G2 have burned all their resources just to walk away from the fight. Flakked moving into the backside, but doesn't have enough damage to get anything done. Saigon Buffalo having a hell of a time in a fight, but now Hasmed is isolated. The Aatrox healing is big. Oh god, it's flashbacks to the Shy. And G2 are running for the hills. One more chain gonna land. Caps taken down. Hasmed still standing. BeanJ up as well. So far, G2 only losing Targamas, but now the rest will fall. 3 members down in an instant, traded for the life of Hasmed. Saigon Buffalo are rolling G2.
Vietnam is here to stay, Daniel. The Saigon Buffalo crush G2. They'll pick up the Dragon Soul point, and they're going to take more than that. Rift Herald is also popped.
It's so terrifying for G2. We'll get a replay, I'm sure, but the start of that fight is just them running and burning all of their cooldowns just to get away. But Saigon Buffalo don't let them get away, Kobe. They just keep going for more.
They certainly do not. I think we undersold the Gwen and Aatrox running at you strategy because it is terrifying. BeanJ and Hasmed right over the top of that wall. Huge, huge chase down, and G2 scrambling to get out of their own jungle here, unable to do so. BeanJ just nice hook, immunes it, and then charges forward right on Jankos. As you said, the defensive ultimate from Jankos to try and buy space, but then they just flash in. Froggy following with the Galio, creating so much space behind these two divers. And then while BrokenBlade is left alone, trying to take down the backline over there, they still have the Galio ultimate to protect Shogun. And so he's not able to get the assassination off. Hasmed lives so long with the Aatrox killing and able to egg caps really early into this fight. So BeanJ, even though he gets low there on the Gwen, snip, snip, heals right back up, chops them all right back down to size. And this game is out of control so quickly. Hasmed with the massive Aatrox damage. And if you also value damage taken, damage soaked as a frontline, which I do, he's also right up there on the very top of that chart with all of the healing he was able to output. Huge stuff there from Hasmed. Gore Drinker, Hex Drinker shield as well coming in for him.
And I think at this point, you look at the itemization, and it's just so hard for G2 to do anything. They even had 3 members of Saigon Buffalo fighting into a funnel, fighting into a fully charged Anivia ult, and they could not get a winning fight. They could not get an advantageous situation. So things are only going to get more difficult. Sole point on the board for Saigon Buffalo. Jankos can look to get something done. He is still strong individually, a bit behind in terms of XP, but in terms of itemization, he is very much ahead. Froggy now running as Jankos wants to finish this kill in isolation. Shogun coming down. Galio going to try to use him to escape, and Jankos is on a CC, so Froggy's tick, 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 he's still standing.
Froggy leaps to safety. The Saigon Buffalo team, I want to take a moment too as well, because so much emphasis has been put on learning at this international event, for the super young members of Evil Geniuses. But as well, this Saigon Buffalo team, overall, they are the youngest average age of any team here at MSI. And the point earlier about being able to play better when the pressure is off, yes, they have technically been eliminated where they cannot advance to the next stage of the game. So much of what you learn at these international events is that your opponents, even these Pool 1 seeds, are just other humans, and you can take them down. If you play with confidence like this, you can definitely succeed, and they're doing just that. After yesterday, it really feels like this Buffalo team is on a much, much steeper power curve.
And just a reminder about how quickly perceptions of teams and your impressions of teams can change in the context. G2 were the best team in the world for the first 2 days of this tournament. And now people are like, oh, wait, how good are they? How good are they really? They're falling down. Saigon Buffalo, maybe we thought they could be upset. We thought they might be better than the PCS. Then we didn't think they're that good. And now they're going to look for 2 upsets in the context of the last few days. Things change so quickly. G2 were the drafting team. This Anivia was part of the reason why we're like, G2 are the drafting team. But now it is the Gwen flex pick in the draft from Saigon Buffalo that is doing work.
Best of ones can be very fickle. And so much of international events is also adjusting to metas and changing to what you're seeing from these different international pockets, basically in the adaptations of their champions pool. So really, really great stuff there from the Buffalo. And G2, yeah, as you mentioned, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, I guess, as far as the win streak turning into a loss streak now.
Yeah. EU fans brought up just to be brought right back down. We'll see how G2 fare in the rest of the day and how they fare in the rest of this game, as for now, Saigon Buffalo appear to be winning team. That said, BrokenBlade good in these extended fights, has the Cosmic Drive, moving away from the Q3, well-timed pool. Hasmed still has a bit of healing coming in. He's got the Moss, so that's extra spell vamp, but Jankos on the way means, it might not mean anything. That is one beefy Aatrox. He's going to try to heal up. That's the Q3. No, he doesn't have enough time. He doesn't have enough cooldowns. But in the meantime, Saigon Buffalo pulling the trigger on this Baron. Shogun trying to generate a little bit more space. Walking away. Wall goes down, but he manages to get past it somehow. There's the ulti. They're flashing away. The taunt coming out from Galio as well. But all the major CC is gone. Maybe, just maybe, G2 can get something done. It is not a jinx.
This is huge.
It's not a miracle steal, but they've managed to stall the Baron while getting a pick on the bottom side. BrokenBlade still taking a tower.
That's huge for G2. To be able to get the kill off, sending Jankos bottom and delay the Baron. They don't have to give up anything on the other side of the map, and these are objective bounties. Because the Buffalo are so far ahead, being at Soul Point, plus all of the gold lead, objective bounty and the kill for the pickoff here for G2, and 0 response from the Buffalo because a very nice stall on that Baron. Caps with this Anivia did have to flash, but with the wall, with the range and the AoE here, again, what they drafted with their final pick was so much stalling. That's step 1. Again, see if they can pull it off here though. 7 seconds left on the Dragon Soul. This is going to be huge. Better practice your smites.
Eyes on Jankos, 4-2-2. He and BrokenBlade, the sole strong points on the team at this moment. Hasmed waiting off to the side, not sure what the blast cone respawn timer looks like, but he may just be able to dash over the wall here in a moment. Just poking, just harassing, ready to leap in, and that's going to be the world under. Flakked now caught in the Infernal Chain. He will get pulled back and BeanJ. Oh, he just sees Emil, he just sees him waiting for him. Snip, snip, BrokenBlade now healing up. Does he have the pool? No, he does not. He just gets cut down. That's going to be the soul.
Flakked got squished like a bug, Daniel. It's still going to be down to a smite, though. Jankos is alive. He's got flash. He's got W. He's over the wall.
Praying on a miracle. Praying. Can he take it away? He got it. He buys time. A brief glimmer of hope. Yes, Saigon Buffalo may take the Baron, but G2, they've held on to hope for now.
Oh, my goodness. That is still going to be Baron for Saigon Buffalo, but Jankos at least saves the soul going over. G2, they're going full defensive now. They've got to stall for a long time because the Buffalo are going to come knocking at your door. They will be wearing purple. They will be buffing up their minions, and they will be looking to get a second win at MSI.
G2 need to hold. G2 need to stall. G2 need to buy as much time as humanly possible because the Saigon Buffalo are coming, and they have not stopped once in this game. 6-0-6 for BeanJ, 4-0-6 for Shogun. This team is unstoppable.
Flakked too close to that wall, I have to say. They saw the first Aatrox Q come through on BrokenBlade. He gets hit, and Flakked is still here. He goes over to Q the Aatrox. Hasmed just jumps over, lands the chain. Beautiful Infernal Chain, and Flakked tried to flash into the corner. He does not flash to the side of the Infernal Chain area. He gets pulled back. He flashes still inside the Infernal Chain area, gets pulled back and annihilated as the Galio ult comes down. But as low as G2 got there, Jankos saves the day. That was a long time with a low health dragon, and he ended up getting it.
Makes it work. Targamas getting pulled back, caps his own wall, potentially turning him against him. That's going to be the ulti now coming out. Jankos on the retreat. The entire team now pulling back as Saigon Buffalo relentlessly pushing in this mid lane. Good news is they have the Anivia. If any champion can stop a Baron siege, it is certainly this one. But Jankos waiting off to the side, looking for any kind of window of opportunity. BeanJ now immune, potentially overstaying. Galio coming in. G2, I don't think you can take this fight. You can't afford to leave your base. Caps and Egg on the other side of the wall is just going to get cut down. G2, all you needed to do was buy time, but you picked a fight anyway, and now everything has fallen apart. G2, the last glimmer of hope, the steal from Jankos amounts to nothing because Saigon Buffalo will not stop. Yes, they are 1-7, but you cannot afford to underestimate the VCS.
This is Vietnam Unleashed! Another win at MSI. The Saigon Buffalo are coming for those Nexus turrets. BrokenBlade and Targamas will be the only G2 members left alive to try and defend.
Oh no, for G2. Another crushing defeat. They found 4 victories in this stage, but they will find 5 losses back to back to back to back. This one at the hands of the Saigon Buffalo. They're not even worried about the champions. They close the game out with confidence.
Think about it. Yesterday, Saigon Buffalo on the brink of taking down RNG. Then they get their first win. Another win here. They are on fire. Scaling here at MSI, the youngest average team here at the tournament. And they indeed took notes for the beginning. Now they're dishing out the lessons.
And now there's other teams we got to be looking at to take notes, to adapt. For G2, they're not out there. That could have been a guaranteed, at a minimum, tiebreaker at the end of the day. But things are only going to get harder as the day continues. Tiebreaker situation's more complex. Saigon Buffalo winning here, and really credit again to the VCS. Always an incredibly entertaining region to watch, always a region that has been capable of upsets, but when this is your second seed and they've developed so quickly in the context of what is a very short tournament, that's an amazing thing to watch.
And it's not just, oh, look at how aggro they are. Look at these crazy, scrappy fights. This is intelligent drafting, swapping the Gwen to the jungle, out of the matchup with Vladimir, into the jungle, having confidence. BeanJ, picking it up, going for the early kill. Full clears his route on Gwen over to the mid lane with the perfect setup from Froggy. Justice Punch just out of the Anivia range, then back in to get the CC to set him up. Beautiful execution on a great plan from the Saigon Buffalo.
And as an update before we head to break, this result, G2's loss, means that T1 have locked their spot in the knockout stage. So there are 2 spots left between G2, EG, and PSG Talon. Pressure is on. Those 2 of those teams are coming up next. Evil Genius is looking to lock their spot in the semifinals versus PSG. As we go, let's check out the comms from the epic win versus T1 and Sounds of the Game presented by Bose.
They will just start it and they one-shot it.
Yeah, I'm walking.
Ready to come from
I kind of have a flank.
Can you blue trinket soon, Danny?
Okay.
Dear?
Okay, I don't have one for 15.
Yeah, Gwen
Jojo,
gets there too.
if they see you, they will take you.
Gwen could be doing a turret.
They're on it? Guys, I kind of have a flank.
Yeah,
Look at me, look at me.
Walk up, Jojo. I can ult for you now. They don't see you.
I'm looking at the Okay, we are gonna fight after turret.
Kali.
Listen after. Yeah. Gwen?
Kill the Gwen after. Kill the Gwen. We can go meet and maybe end.
She's with me. I got it.
Can we go mid?
Heal first and then we go back.
Just there, Zoe pulled.
I got the Nash.
I think, okay, yeah.
Let's keep going. Zoe has everything.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Yeah, go. Engage. Yep.
I'm gonna chase. I predator.
Gwen.
Just kill the
Go.
Gwen.
We
Hey,
Bear this.
Hey, brief everyone.
Guys,
I saw about their Sams.
We're losing burn buff.
I have flash, okay? I'm just gonna flash, okay?
Kalista stopwatch. Kalista stopwatch.
Okay.
Protect this wave, I have flash.
Yeah,
we will.
Kalista
If Zoe
stopwatch.
ults in, I'm flash hooking after, okay?
Okay, I'm flashing on Kai'Sa, okay?
Yep.
Hit the turret.
Wait, no, we don't need to finish here yet.
Next wave, go next wave.
Oh, look,
Yeah, I'm ulting him. Go.
Look.
We're gonna kill after.
Kill him after.
Look my hook, guys. Look my hook. Yep.
Kalista. Just Kalista, no flash, just kite.
Guys,
We can finish.
I'll flash on Kai'Sa on this wave, okay?
Okay.
10 seconds, listen.
Hey,
Just
get
if
ready
you walk
to
up,
follow.
Jojo,
Get
only if
ready
you
to
walk up.
follow.
Yep.
Get ready
Just
to
hit it
follow.
No, Jojo, only if you walk up, bro.
Look.
No.
Yeah, look.
Yeah.
Pull it.
Just add that.
Guys are coming.
Oh, we won.
Wow, we won.
That's fucking crazy, what the f.
I woke up to the morning sky first. Baby blue, just like we rehearsed.
Behind 14 epic days of epicness. Behind 61 million hours of dropped jaws. Behind every match, every broadcast, every moment at League of Legends MSI 2022 is the network capable of making it all happen. The Cisco Network, aka The Realm. Cisco, powering the future of esports.
Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk. After the Buffaloes secure a second win in a row, putting G2 on a 5-game losing streak. And what could have been for this Saigon Buffaloes squad, as they seem to have now found their form and their footing here in the Rumble stage, if not a game too late.
I didn't see this one coming. Even with the downswing of G2, even with the upswing that we've seen of the Saigon Buffalo, but they're continuing their form. We're seeing exactly the same things that we saw yesterday. We highlighted BeanJ at the top of the day, and it was more to talk about him kind of pushing forward Froggy. This time around, he was the one who pushed because his early game presence and the impact that he had was insane.
Yeah, BeanJ getting ahead was actually so crucial to this team. In addition, their bot lane actually getting significantly ahead was also really important, as we see the bot lane dive that, let's just say, it wasn't executed perfectly, but it did the job. Gwen, we were talking to Xayah beyond, but it has one of the lower win rates as a jungler right now. So it was cool to see them come out. Getting the Gwen ahead was super important, and then they could have team fights like this.
It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to work, right? And work it did for this Saigon Buffaloes squad. I also think very interesting that we saw G2, for example, go back to the Anivia pick. So they're still definitely doing work when it comes to the draft to try and find the right answer, even if it didn't get them the win this time around.
And this composition from Saigon can also kind of fall flat if the early game didn't go the way that it did.
Absolutely.
Because you saw the reason why they could win is they could just run through Anivia, ignore Vlad. And if the early game would have gone a little differently, you try that and you just lose.
We've already said his name. We'll say it again. Our OP player of the game. It's BeanJ on the Gwen flex pick. We've talked so much about how integral he is to his team's performance, specifically in enabling players like Froggy, but on the flex this time around, leading the charge.
And this is the fight I was talking about. I don't think this is a great fight. You're fighting into a choke point, into like Anivia, and into Vladimir that's flanking. Like, it's really scary. But he has gotten them, or they've gotten to the point here where they can actually go for this skirmish. The damage just isn't there. The defensive itemization is amazing. And BeanJ, the moment that he got his Riftmaker after the couple of early kills they were able to pick up, he took that lead and never gave it away. Built a Zhonya second, meaning that it was really hard for G2 to actually focus him as well, even with all the dive and the counter engage that they had available. And Saigon Buffalo, off the back of BeanJ and how well he piloted the Gwen, which now apparently it's triple flex. You know, Gwen jungle also back.
As we know, flex picks generally dominate, global competition, right? Because they make warps drafts in such a drastic way. But as well, again, the Galio coming out in the mid lane, lending a lot of possibilities to the team fight, both defensively and offensively, right? Either following up on an initial engage or, working to give that Xayah the kind of protection and survivability that she needs to be the carry.
So watching LPL all year, like, we're like, is Galio good, or are they just like over-focusing? Obviously, Shahu had a fantastic Galio game. In this game, Froggy was able to contribute to those fights. Again, you get him on something where you get him out of lane. He's team fighting. And it works so much better for Saigon Buffalo when they're able to pull that off.
Well, there you have it. Game one's gone the way of Saigon Buffalo. Emily's already made the crease in our foldy sheet for the day, perhaps to the bottom half, which we didn't expect to see. But coming up is a massive game in the fight for top 4 as PSG is facing Evil Geniuses in our featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz.